Hey everyone, Sarah here. Rewind Justice brings you revenge stories that will blow your mind. If you're ready, hit subscribe and let's go.
My name is Jordan Hayes, and I learned early that in my father's world, ownership meant everything. He owned things, properties, businesses, people if he could manage it. And he made sure everyone knew exactly what he owned and what he didn't. What he didn't own apparently was any respect for his youngest daughter. The Christmas dinner where everything unraveled started exactly how every Thompson family gathering started, with Dad holding court about his latest acquisition and my brother Derek playing the role of devoted heir apparent. Closed on the Miami property last week, Dad announced cutting into his prime rib, 12-unit apartment complex. Should generate about $40,000 monthly once we raise rents. Smart play, Derek nodded like he'd had anything to do with it. Real estate is where generational wealth lives. Mom smiled proudly. Your father has such vision. I continued eating, keeping my eyes on my plate. Dad's gaze landed on me. Jordan, you're still renting that little apartment in Capitol Hill, aren't you? I am. How much are you paying? $1,800? $2,000? Around that. Derek laughed. Throwing money away every month. That's got to hurt. It's fine, I said quietly. Fine. Dad set down his fork. Jordan, you're 32 years old. Your brother owned his first property at 25. At your age, he had 3 rental units generating passive income. Different paths, I offered. Different ambitions, you mean? Dad leaned back, warming to his topic. You know what your problem is? You've never understood leverage. Never understood how to make money work for you instead of working for money. Mom patted my hand sympathetically. Not everyone has the mind for real estate, dear. Some people are just renters. Exactly, Dad continued. And there's no shame in that. Society needs renters. Someone has to pay landlords like Derek and me. Derek grinned. Speaking of which, I just bought another fourplex in Fremont. Closing next week. Should I send you the listing for one of the units, Jordan? Family discount. I'm good where I am. For now, Dad said. But you'll never own property at this rate. Not in this market. Not on a graphic designer's salary. What they didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask, was that I wasn't a graphic designer anymore. I'd been the founder and CEO of Apex Commercial Holdings for 7 years. We specialized in commercial real estate acquisitions, with a focus on Class A office buildings in secondary markets. Our portfolio was worth $340 million. And Thompson Industries, Dad's precious manufacturing company, had been leasing their headquarters from one of my subsidiary LLCs for the past 4 years. They had no idea their landlord was me. But I'd learned long ago that the best strategy with my family was to stay quiet and let them reveal exactly who they were. The tragedy, Mom was saying, is that we tried to teach you. Remember when your father offered to help you buy that condo in 2019? I remembered. Dad had offered to help, which meant loaning me money at above-market interest rates, with him holding the deed until I paid it off, with his name on the title, with a clause letting him claim the property if I missed a single payment. Derek had thought it was generous. I'd declined. Some people just don't have the vision, Dad said, shaking his head. You'll be renting forever, Jordan. Paying someone else's mortgage while they build equity. Pathetic, Derek smirked. I pulled out my phone, keeping it below the table. Opened my encrypted email and found the message thread with Marcus Chin, my property manager who oversaw the Thompson Industries building. I typed, issue 90-day notice to Thompson Industries. Commercial lease termination. Effective immediately. Marcus responded within 30 seconds. Confirmed. Should I provide a reason? Not yet. Standard termination letter. Send tonight. Done. Happy holidays, boss. I set my phone down and took a sip of wine. Dad was still talking. The problem with your generation is you want instant gratification. You don't understand that wealth takes time, strategy, patience. I've been building my portfolio for 35 years. And it shows, Derek added. Dad owns 17 properties now. 17. That's legacy money. What about you, Jordan? Mom asked with practiced concern. Do you have any savings? Any investments? Or is it all going to rent and those expensive coffees you young people love? I have some investments, I said. Derek laughed. Let me guess. A 401k? Maybe some index funds? That's cute. Very conservative, Dad agreed. Nothing wrong with that. Not everyone can handle the risk of real estate. Some people need the safety of being a tenant. My phone buzzed. Dad's phone buzzed at the exact same moment. He frowned, pulling it from his pocket. Glanced at the screen. His expression shifted from confused to focused. Work email, he muttered. On Christmas. Unbelievable. What is it? Mom asked. Dad was scanning the message, his jaw tightening. It's from the property management company. For our headquarters. Derek leaned over. Problem. They're terminating our lease. The table went quiet except for the soft Christmas music playing in the background. Terminating. Mom's voice pitched higher. They can't do that. You have a contract. I do have a contract. A 5-year lease with annual renewals. Which apparently they're choosing not to renew. Dad's face was reddening. 90 days notice. Effective immediately. Derek grabbed his own phone. That's insane. Did they give a reason? Standard termination. No specific cause required per the lease agreement. Dad was scrolling rapidly. This is going to cost us a fortune. Our entire operation is in that building. 23,000 square feet. Custom manufacturing floor. Specialized electrical. We can't just move that overnight. Call them, Mom urged. Call them right now. It's Christmas Day, Carol. And it's an email from some property manager I've never even heard of. Marcus Chin. I took another sip of wine. Derek was already calculating. Commercial real estate in that area is brutal right now. Vacancy rates under 3%. If we have to relocate, we're looking at massive costs. Moving equipment, retrofitting a new space, downtime during the transition. I know what we're looking at, Dad snapped. I've been in real estate longer than you've been alive. Who owns the building? Mom asked. Maybe we can negotiate directly with the owner. Dad scrolled further. Some Apex Commercial Holdings. Never heard of them. My heart rate didn't change. Years of poker with investors had taught me to control every micro-expression. An LLC? Derek frowned. That's weird. Most commercial landlords around here are established firms or REITs. Whoever they are, they're making a mistake. Dad's voice had that dangerous edge I recognized from childhood. I'll have our lawyer send a letter first thing tomorrow. We have rights as tenants. They can't just force us out without cause. Actually, I said quietly, they can. Commercial leases are different from residential. Landlords have much broader termination rights, especially with month-to-month renewals. Everyone stared at me. How would you know that? Derek asked. I read. Dad's eyes narrowed. Reading and understanding commercial real estate law are two different things. This is complex stuff, Jordan. Not something you pick up from articles. If you say so. He returned to his phone, his Christmas dinner forgotten. The timing couldn't be worse. We're in the middle of our Q4 push. We have client deliveries scheduled through March. And now I have to deal with finding a new facility. Maybe it's a mistake, Mom suggested hopefully. Maybe they sent it to the wrong tenant. Derek was typing on his laptop now. I'm looking up this Apex Commercial Holdings. Let's see who we're dealing with. I cut into my roasted vegetables, my expression neutral. Here we go, Derek announced. Apex Commercial Holdings, LLC. Founded 2017. Principal office in Seattle. Portfolio focus on class A commercial properties in secondary markets. He paused. The CEO isn't listed publicly. It's held privately. Anonymous owners, Dad spat. Probably some foreign investment group. They buy up American commercial real estate and squeeze out established tenants for higher rents. Actually, I said, the lease agreement probably has a clause about competitive use. They might be bringing in a different tenant that better fits their portfolio strategy. Dad's head swiveled toward me. Again, how would you know that? Lucky guess. Jordan. His tone was sharp now. Do you know something about this? I know that commercial landlords generally make decisions based on business strategy, not personal vendettas. Nobody said anything about vendettas. I smiled slightly. Didn't you? You've been talking about foreign investors squeezing out established tenants. Derek was still researching. Portfolio includes properties in Portland, Spokane, Boise, and, wait. The Seattle properties list includes our building. 2847 Industrial Way. Acquired 2020 through subsidiary holding company. 2020, Dad muttered. We moved in 2021. So this Apex company bought the building right before we signed our lease. Probably saw an opportunity, Derek said. Buy a partially vacant building, fill it with tenants, increase value, then flip or refinance. Dad's phone rang. He answered immediately. This is Thompson. Yes, I got the email. No, I don't accept that. I've been a model tenant for 4 years. What do you mean it's not negotiable? His face went through several shades of red. I want to speak to the owner. I don't care about your protocols. Tell your CEO that Michael Thompson wants a meeting. Tomorrow. Fine, after the holiday then. I'll be expecting that call. He hung up, his hand shaking slightly. Well? Mom asked. Property manager says the decision is final. Won't discuss reasons. Won't connect me to ownership. Says someone from Apex will call next week to discuss transition logistics. This is discrimination, Derek said. They're clearly targeting established businesses to make room for tech companies or something. We'll see what our lawyer says. Dad threw his napkin on the table. 35 years in business. Never missed a rent payment. Never violated a lease term. And some faceless LC thinks they can just push us out. I stood collecting my plate. I should go. Early day tomorrow. Sit down, Dad commanded. We're not finished here. There's nothing I can help with. I don't own property, remember? I'm just a renter who doesn't understand real estate. This is different. This is business. Is it? Sounds like someone with more power is making a decision about someone with less power. Deciding they don't fit. Deciding they're not the right tenant. Mom's eyes narrowed. What are you implying? Nothing. Just observing that it's interesting how upset you all are about being on the receiving end of a landlord's decision. Derek stood. That's completely different. We're talking about a business relationship. A contract. Not some personal slight. Right, I said. Just business. Not personal at all. I walked toward the kitchen with my plate. Behind me, I heard Dad calling someone else, probably his lawyer's emergency line. Mom was trying to calm him down. Derek was frantically searching for commercial real estate alternatives. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Letter sent. Also just got 3 voicemails from a Michael Thompson. Very angry. Should I respond? I replied, not yet. Let him stew through the weekend. We'll schedule a call for Tuesday. Another text. You're enjoying this, aren't you? More than I should, I admitted. The weekend was enlightening. I spent Christmas Day evening and the next 2 days watching my phone light up with family drama. Derek created a group chat to strategize about the headquarters crisis. Mom sent increasingly anxious texts about whether Dad's blood pressure could handle this stress. Dad himself sent exactly one message. Need to talk. Call me. I didn't call. Instead, I spent Saturday reviewing the commercial real estate market reports for our area. As Derek had discovered, vacancy rates were indeed brutal. The few available spaces comparable to Thompson Industries' current facility were either unsuitable for manufacturing or priced at nearly double their current rent. Marcus sent me updates. Your father has called 6 times. His lawyer called twice. They're threatening legal action for wrongful termination. Are we exposed? I asked. Not even slightly. The lease agreement is airtight. Month-to-month renewal after initial 5-year term. Either party can terminate with 90 days notice. No cause required. I wrote that lease myself, remember? I remember. I'd hired Marcus 7 years ago specifically because he was a former real estate attorney who understood how to structure bulletproof commercial agreements. Every property in my portfolio had the same protective clauses. Sunday evening, Derek called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Jordan, hey. Listen, I know you're not involved in this, but are you still in touch with any of those tech people you used to work with? Some of them. Why? Dad needs leads on commercial space. Like urgently. I thought maybe your network might know of something. My network of graphic designers? I don't know, startup people, whatever. Anyone who might know about available commercial real estate. I paused. Let me think about it. Thanks. This is really stressing Dad out. He's talking about early retirement if he has to rebuild the whole operation from scratch. That would be terrible, I said flatly. I know, right? Anyway, appreciate anything you can do. Oh, and Jordan, maybe don't mention the property ownership stuff around Dad for a while. He's pretty sensitive about the whole landlord-tenant thing right now. I'll try to remember that. After I hung up, I sat on my couch, in my rented apartment that Dad was so concerned about, and laughed until my sides hurt. Tuesday morning, I scheduled a video call with Marcus, my CFO Linda Park, and our corporate attorney Sarah Morrison. Walk me through the financials, I said. Linda pulled up her spreadsheet. Thompson Industries currently pays $23,500 monthly for 23,000 square feet. That's just over $1 per square foot, which was market rate in 2021 when they signed. Current market rate for comparable space is $1.85 to $2.10 per square foot. So we're undercharging them. By about $20,000 per month, yes. The building is now our lowest performing asset in the portfolio by revenue per square foot. And if we bring in a different tenant? I've had preliminary conversations with 3 tech companies looking for space in that area. All 3 would pay current market rates. One is willing to sign a 10-year lease at $2.15 per square foot, with annual 3% escalations. I did the quick math. That's about $50,000 monthly. Double what Thompson pays. Roughly, yes. Sarah jumped in. And legally we're completely clear. The lease agreement allows for termination by either party with 90 days notice after the initial term. No cause required. They can challenge it, but they won't win. What about the personal connection? I asked. The fact that it's my father's company? Irrelevant, Sarah said firmly. You own the building through a properly structured LLC. You have a fiduciary duty to maximize returns for your company. Keeping a below-market tenant isn't viable, regardless of personal relationships. Plus, Linda added, they've been a pain. Late payments twice last year. Multiple complaints about minor maintenance issues. Their manufacturing creates more wear and tear than a standard office tenant. I nodded slowly. Set up a call with my father for Thursday. Video conference. Professional setting. You're going to tell him? Marcus looked surprised. Eventually. First, I want to give him a chance to show me who he really is. Thursday at 2 p.m. I joined the video call from my office. My real office, the corner suite on the 18th floor of Columbia Tower with views of Elliott Bay and the Olympic Mountains. The office with my name on the door and my degrees on the wall. Dad appeared on screen in what looked like his home office, Derek beside him. Both wore suits. Power moves for a tenant meeting. Marcus was with me just off camera. Mr. Thompson, Derek, thank you for making time, I began. Dad's eyes narrowed at the professional setting behind me. Who are you? Jordan Hayes, CEO of Apex Commercial Holdings. I believe you're familiar with one of our properties. The silence was profound. Derek recovered first. Jordan, what the hell is this? This is a business meeting regarding the commercial lease termination for 2847 Industrial Way. You requested a call with Apex Ownership. I'm Apex Ownership. Dad's face went from confused to pale to bright red in about 5 seconds. You. His voice was strangled. You own our building? I own $340 million worth of commercial real estate across 4 states. Your building is one of 23 properties in my portfolio. This is a joke, Derek said. You're a graphic designer. I was a graphic designer. 10 years ago. I used the skills I learned to start a marketing consultancy for real estate developers. That gave me industry connections and capital. I made my first property investment at 25. A small office building in Spokane that I bought, renovated, and sold for 40% profit. I used those returns to buy 2 more properties. And built from there. Dad was staring like I was speaking a foreign language. The building Thompson Industries occupies, I acquired in 2020 for $3.2 million. It was 60% vacant and poorly managed. I invested another $800,000 in renovations and brought it to full occupancy within 18 months. Current value is approximately $5.8 million. You're lying, Dad said. This is some kind of scam. I shared my screen. Showed him the LLC operating documents. The property deed. The acquisition contracts. My MBA from Columbia. My Forbes profile from last year's 30 under 40 in commercial real estate. Derek was frantically Googling on another screen. I watched his face change as he found the articles, the property records, the business filings. Oh my God, he whispered. It's real. You're actually a landlord, I finished. Yes. Dad finally found his voice. Why didn't you tell us? Why would I? You made it very clear what you thought of my capabilities. You'll never own property. Renting forever. Pathetic. That was just, we were concerned about your future. No. You were comfortable with me being less successful than you. It made you feel bigger. Mom's voice came from off-screen. She'd apparently been listening. Jordan, sweetheart, we're proud of you. We just didn't know. You didn't know because you never asked. In 7 years of building this company, not one of you ever asked about my work. What I did. What I was building. You just assumed I was failing. Derek was still processing. So the lease termination. This is revenge? No. This is business. Your lease is below current market rate by about $240,000 annually. I have other tenants willing to pay market rates with longer terms and less operational friction. Operational friction? Dad's voice was rising. We've been model tenants. I pulled up another file. You've been late on rent twice. You've filed 17 maintenance complaints for issues that were clearly cosmetic or outside landlord responsibility. Your manufacturing operation creates 3 times the wear and tear of a standard office tenant. And according to my property manager, your staff is consistently rude to our maintenance crews. That's ridiculous. Is it? Marcus, can you play the recording from last month? Marcus pulled up an audio file. Dad's voice, crystal clear, berating a maintenance worker. I don't pay $23,500 a month to wait 3 days for a light bulb change. Tell your boss that we're considering other options if this is the service level we can expect. The irony of him threatening to leave while we were already evicting him wasn't lost on anyone. That was taken out of context. Dad protested. There's more, I said. But the point isn't to humiliate you. The point is that business decisions are based on data, performance, and profitability. Not family relationships. So that's it. Derek asked. You're just kicking Dad out? I'm terminating a below-market lease with a difficult tenant. The fact that the tenant is my father is irrelevant to the business decision. Dad leaned forward and I saw the calculation in his eyes. Jordan. Let's be reasonable. We can negotiate. I'll pay market rate. We'll sign a longer lease. Whatever you need. Current market rate is $2.15 per square foot. For your space, that's about $50,000 monthly. His face paled. That's double what we're paying now. Correct. Which is why you're below market. We can't afford that. It would destroy our margins. Then you need to find a less expensive space. Or downsize. Or adjust your business model. Those are the options available to any tenant facing a rent increase. But I'm not just any tenant. I'm your father. Which is exactly why I need to treat this as purely business. If I gave you special rates because you're family, that would be unethical. It would be subsidizing your company with my company's money. Derek tried a different angle. What about our relationship? Family. What about it? You've spent my entire adult life dismissing my achievements, assuming I was failing and making it clear you saw me as lesser. Now you want family loyalty. Mom appeared on camera now, her face tearful. Jordan, we made mistakes. We didn't understand. But you can't punish us for not knowing something you never told us. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm running a business. Isn't that what you always wanted? For me to be more like Dad? To understand leverage and strategy and making money work for me. The silence that followed was heavy. Finally, Dad spoke, his voice different now. Smaller. What do you want from us? Nothing. I don't want anything. I want you to find a new space that works for your business. I want you to understand that your assumptions about me were wrong. And I want you to consider how you've treated people you perceived as having less power than you. People like who? Like your tenants. Your maintenance workers. Your daughter who you thought was just a failed graphic designer. I stood up. The 90-day notice stands. Marcus will work with you on transition logistics. If you need more time, we can discuss a short-term extension at market rates. Otherwise, your lease expires March 31st. Jordan, wait. This meeting is over. Marcus will be your point of contact going forward. Have a good day. I ended the call. Marcus whistled low. That was brutal. That was necessary. My phone started ringing immediately. Then Derek. Then Mom. I silenced all of them. The next 3 months were instructive. Dad's lawyer sent threatening letters that went nowhere. Derek tried to rally family members to pressure me into changing my mind. Mom called crying, then angry, then pleading. I responded to none of it. Marcus handled all the transition logistics professionally. Offered them a 30-day extension at market rates, which they grudgingly accepted. Provided referrals to commercial real estate brokers. Ensured their deposit was returned in full. Thompson Industries found a smaller space in a less desirable area. They had to downsize their operation by 30%. Dad's retirement plans were delayed indefinitely. Meanwhile, Apex Commercial signed a 10-year lease with a biotech company at $2.15 per square foot. They moved in April 1st. They've been model tenants. 3 months after the lease termination, Derek showed up at my office. Security called up. There's a Derek Thompson here to see you. Says he's your brother. Send him up. He walked into my office and just stared. At the view. At the furnishings. At the framed Forbes article on my wall. This is real, he said finally. All of it. Yes. I Googled you. Really Googled you this time. You're worth a lot. I am. More than Dad. Probably. He sat down without being invited. I owe you an apology. Okay. That's it? Just okay. What do you want me to say, Derek? That it's fine? That I'm over it? I'm not. You spent years making me feel small because it made you feel bigger. I know. He looked at his hands. I'm in therapy now. Dealing with some stuff. Realizing Dad's approval isn't worth what I've paid for it. Good for you. Is there any chance? I mean, could we try to have a relationship? A real one? I thought about it. Maybe. But not right now. Right now, I need space from all of you. He nodded. Fair. Can I ask you something though? Did you enjoy it? Kicking Dad out. I considered lying. Decided on honesty. A little. Not as much as I thought I would. Mostly it just felt necessary. Like setting a boundary I should have set years ago. He's struggling, Derek said. The downsizing hit hard. He's talking about selling properties to cover costs. That's business. Sometimes you have to adjust. Is that really all this is to you? Just business. I met his eyes. You want the truth? It's not just business. It's also not just revenge. It's me finally treating myself with the same respect I give my tenants, my employees, my business partners. It's me saying I'm worth more than being your family's punchline. Derek stood. I get it. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Really sorry. I believe you. But it doesn't change anything. Not yet. Maybe someday. After he left, I stood at my window looking out at the city. At the buildings I owned and the ones I was planning to buy. At the empire I'd built while my family assumed I was failing. I thought about Dad and his 17 properties. His pride in ownership. His belief that landlords were better than tenants. And I realized something: he was wrong. Not about ownership mattering, he was right about that. But he was wrong about what it means. Ownership isn't about making other people feel small. It's not about having power over tenants or bragging at Christmas dinner. It's about building something that matters, creating value, treating people with respect regardless of their position. It's about being the kind of landlord and person who makes spaces better, not people smaller. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. The biotech tenant just renewed for another 5 years. Early renewal with a rate increase. They love the building. I smiled. Turns out I do understand real estate after all. And unlike my father, I also understand that the best tenants are the ones you treat as partners, not servants. That the best properties are the ones where everyone wins. That success isn't measured by who you can control but by what you can build. I'm not renting forever. I never was.